Here are the top stories for today, July 11, 2022. Some breathing space for motorists. Oil firms will slash pump prices effective tomorrow. An expert cites the need to ramp up COVID-19 booster vaccination amid the emergence of new variants, but says there is no need to raise alert levels and reduce public transport capacity as severe cases remain at bay. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology lowers Taal volcano's alert to level 1, citing a decrease in its activity. And another sigh of relief, power rates will go down this July as Meralco complies with the Energy Regulatory Commission's order to refund some 21.8 billion pesos to consumers. We begin with a sigh of relief for motorists who will pay less for fuel this week. Oil prices will go down for a second straight week, and it's bigger this time. In separate advisory, Shell, Sea Oil, Caltex, and Petrogas will cut gasoline prices by 5 pesos and 70 centavos per liter, diesel by 6 pesos and 10 centavos per liter. Kerosene will also be down by 6 pesos and 30 centavos per liter. The Energy Department has earlier projected an oil price rollback this week, citing interest rate hikes by various countries, lockdowns in Shanghai, China due to COVID-19 cases, and lower demand. Shifting to the COVID-19 situation, a weak surge in COVID-19 cases has already started in the country. The Octa Research Group has earlier projected that this will occur on the second or third week of July. Speaking at a Laging Handa briefing, infectious disease expert Dr. Ronjin Solante says this is expected as the positivity rate for COVID-19 has already exceeded 10%, which means an uptick in cases for the next 3 to 4 weeks. Solante attributes the uptick to the presence of emerging variants such as the B.4 and B.5, which were detected through genome sequencing. The country also needs to ramp up booster doses as its booster rate is only 20% of the target population, which is relatively low compared to the 50% booster rate of some ASEAN neighbors such as Malaysia, Singapore, and Vietnam. Solante also cited the possibility of COVID-19 jabs being administered on a regular basis.
And there is a possibility na with the next few months, remaining months pa rin, moving forward, hindi natin ito ma-control because of the possibility of new more variants of concern na pwedeng ibaba na naman ang mga bisa ng mga bakuna. So isa yan sa mga tinitingnan natin ngayon na there is a possibility na magiging regular ang pagbabakuna. Whether it's 3 months, 4 months, or 6 months, magiging depende yan sa mga studies na titingnan natin kung darating na yung mga ano ba yung kaukulang bakuna na kailangan natin gawin na magiging regular, at depende din yan doon sa virus na tinatawag natin variants na magiging prevailing or magiging dominant on that particular year.
COVID-19 did not stop President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. from fulfilling his duties over the weekend. Press Secretary Trixie Cruz Angeles said the president was giving out directives to his cabinet officials while in isolation. The president's lead physician, Dr. Samuel Zacate, said the chief executive has greatly improved with only mild symptoms. Marcos tested positive for COVID-19 on July 8. This is the second time that Marcos tested positive for COVID-19, the first being at the height of the pandemic in 2020. Marcos was in isolation when he addressed newly elected mayors and governors last Friday and emphasized the importance of a booster vaccination drive. The president raised the possibility of further lowering the COVID-19 alert level status and ordering the optional wearing of face mask if the booster rollout becomes successful. He said that if the vaccination drive becomes successful, the government could allow children to return to full face-to-face classes and fully open the economy. Meanwhile, Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla has tested negative twice for COVID-19. Remulla told reporters earlier today that he has recovered and will physically report for work on Thursday, July 14. Remulla attended the first cabinet meeting in Malacanang on July 5 and tested positive on July 7. COVID-19 has become a party pooper in Legazpi City as the local government called off plans to hold once again the Ibalong Festival this August. The City Tourism Office posted the cancellation on social media last Friday amid a spike in COVID-19 cases. The Ibalong Festival would have been held this August 12 to 21, 2022. Despite the cancellation of the festival, tourists are still welcome while health protocols are still in place. As of July 4, the Department of Health in Bicol Region reported 401 active cases, 27 of which are in Legazpi City. The Ibalong Festival is a non-religious event based on the Ibalong epic, which depicts Bicol's origins as a land of mythical warriors, beasts, and monsters. The projected implementation of face-to-face classes in November gets full support from the Department of Health. As of mid-June, about 38,000 schools nationwide have been considered to start in-person classes. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere said the department is in favor to conduct the classes, but only with strict enforcement of minimum public health standards. Teachers and non-teaching personnel will be required to be vaccinated to ensure a safe learning environment for the learners. Vaccination against COVID-19 will not be mandated to students but will be highly encouraged. DOH plans to set up vaccination sites in schools to encourage parents to have their children get their jabs. Earlier, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said that the Department of Education, or DepEd, is looking to start face-to-face classes in some schools by September. The Philippines and the United States have assured to each other a continuous bilateral security alliance and shared interests under the Marcos administration. Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo confirmed via Twitter on Sunday his recent conversation with U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. He said the U.S. expressed its commitment as an equal and sovereign partner in promoting peace, prosperity, and international law-based order in the Asia-Pacific region. He added that they agreed to continue working together on building resilient supply chains, addressing the climate crisis, and transitioning to clean energy. For his part, Blinken said their July 9 talk involved shared commitment to strategic ties and economic interests. Blinken also emphasized the importance of respect for human rights and the rule of law. Still ahead, social welfare workers bring in food supplies for flash flood victims in Banawe, Ifugao. And Meralco announces it is lowering power rates this July. We'll be back after a quick break. Keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
Sa matinding laban natin sa Coronavirus Disease 2019, sugpuin din natin ang pagkalat ng fake news. Huwag magbahagi ng impormasyon na hindi tiyak ang pinagmulan. I-check mabuti ang source ng balita. Kumuha lamang ng impormasyon mula sa mga official channel ng Department of Health. Huwag magpadala sa maling balita. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to. Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
The Social Welfare Department assures enough food supply for residents of Banawe, Ifugao affected by recent flash floods. 1,500 family food packs amounting to 941,000 pesos have been distributed so far to affected families according to a social media post by the DSWD in the Cordillera. Throughout the region, 27,121 family food packs have already been pre-positioned, including over 14,000 food packs at the regional warehouse ready for distribution. 2,608 family food packs have been deployed in Ifugao alone. Flash floods due to bad weather hit Banawe and partially damaged 328 houses, including others from nearby barangays last week. Community members, police soldiers, and the DSWD car continue to work hand in hand to assist the victims. Authorities have seized over 18 million pesos worth of shabu in 3 areas of the country last week, including a shipment of drugs that suspects tried to smuggle inside a toy truck. Marita Moahe reports.
Anti-drug operatives seized some 17 million pesos worth of shabu from a claimant in a controlled delivery operation in Pasay City on Friday. The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency Central Luzon identified the consignee as Angel Paul Larimel Felizmena. The suspected package sent from Rockville, Maryland, United States was declared as chocolates, coffee, and sweets and contained some 2.5 kilograms of shabu. Meanwhile, authorities confiscated about 1 million pesos worth of shabu in 4 separate operations in the Caraga region. PDEA agents raided 2 drug dens in Purok Alang-Alang, Barangay Ipil, Surigao City, and in Barangay Baan, Kilometer 3 in Butuan City. On July 5, PDEA 13 agents and Surigao del Norte Police arrested Mark Anthony Cuyag, a high-value target in an operation conducted in Placer, Surigao del Norte. Also on July 4, PDEA and Butuan City Police operatives nabbed 2 suspects in a buy-bust operation in Purok 5, Barangay Limaha. In Zamboanga City, government agents seized a shipment of suspected shabu worth about 440,000 pesos at the Zamboanga International Airport last Tuesday. The illegal drugs were concealed in a toy truck that was shipped to Palawan. 10 people were arrested and 3 other operations throughout the Zamboanga Peninsula, bringing the total worth of seized illegal drugs to some 875,000 pesos. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Marita Moahe.
Taal volcano is lowered to alert level 1 after reflecting an overall decrease in its monitoring parameters. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or Phivolcs, noted that the Taal volcano showed significant decrease in daily volcanic earthquakes, sulfur dioxide flux, and steam-rich plumes. However, the agency warned that the volcano still has a possibility of erupting as it is still classified under abnormal condition. Taal volcano will only be considered at rest if the monitoring parameters return to normal or in alert level 0. Under low rest level, steam-driven explosions, volcanic earthquakes, minor ashfall, and gas expulsion can still occur. Phivolcs also reminded the people that the entry into Taal's permanent danger zone remains prohibited. Taal volcano was placed under alert level 3 in March after displaying a short-lived phreatomagmatic explosion and lowered to level 2 in April. A former central bank official forecast the average domestic inflation for this year to be around 5.5% and the 2023 level to be at 4.5% as prices are still on the rise due to inflation's second-round effects. In an online forum streamed by the Foundation for Economic Freedom, or FEF, Former BSP Deputy Governor Diwa Gunigundo said uncertainties on developments around the globe are causing upticks in prices of commodities and have resulted in second-round effects in the country. As of the first 6 months of this year, the average rate of price increases stood at 4.4%, surpassing the government's 2 to 4% target band until 2023, and higher levels in the next 2 months to 5.4% and 6.1% respectively. All these upticks were traced to the continued rise of prices of oil and other commodities in the international market, resulting to second-round effects such as the increase in the minimum fare in public utility vehicles or PUVs, among others. To help tame the domestic inflation rate, the BSP's Policy-Making Monetary Board has increased key policy rates by 25 basis points each in 2 consecutive meetings last May and June. He said that with the positive growth prospects of the economy, the hikes in the BSP's key rates will help address not just the inflationary pressures from higher commodity prices, but also the depreciation of the peso. Good news for household consumers, Meralco is lowering its power rates this July. Residential consumers expect a cut of up to 71 centavos per kilowatt hour, or an overall rate of 9 pesos and 75 centavos per kilowatt hour on their bill. This is equivalent to a reduction of 141 pesos in the total bill of customers that consume about 200 kilowatt hours. The lower power rates comes after the Energy Regulatory Commission, or ERC, ordered to refund about 21.8 billion pesos or 86 centavos per kilowatt hour to consumers. This has offset previous increases since the start of the year. More stories from the newsroom. The U.S. calls for cooperation as Sri Lanka transitions to a new government. And the Filipino bibingka takes a spot in the top 50 of the world's best rated cakes. Details ahead. Stay with the PNA Newsroom.
Hi everyone, James Deacon here. The COVID-19 vaccines are finally here, and the government wants to make sure the vaccines reach us. So let's do our part by making sure that we get registered to be included in the vaccination list of our LGU. You can register right in the comfort and safety of your own homes through your LGU's online registration platform. And you can also register on-site in the vaccination venues or through your barangay. Remember, getting vaccinated is the first step towards ending this pandemic. So let's do our part as disciplined citizens. Bida ang may disiplina. Magparehistro't magpabakuna para sa ligtas na pamilya, ligtas na bayan.
In our news overseas, the United States on Sunday called on all parties in Sri Lanka to cooperate and help achieve a peaceful and democratic transition of power. U.S. Ambassador to Colombo Julie Chung urged the future government to implement solutions to overcome the country's worsening economic conditions. She says the United States and the rest of the world vow to support Sri Lanka as it takes steps towards resolving the debt crisis. Chung also condemned violence against protesters and journalists. On Saturday, thousands of protesters demanded the president's resignation amid the collapse of the country's economy. At this point, the island nation of 22 million people has defaulted on all of its foreign debt. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa will resign on July 13, and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe also expressed his willingness to step down. Mindanao is on its way to being a top tourist destination that will be inclusive and sustainable for Muslim Filipinos. Tourism Secretary Cristina Frasco made this promise on Saturday as the country's Muslim community celebrated Eid al-Fitr. Frasco earlier met with DOT directors in Mindanao to discuss the challenges of regions and tourism stakeholders. She raised the need to develop more air and sea ports and additional routes to improve accessibility for tourists. She said among the DOT's goals is to highlight lesser-known communities and locations and foster inclusivity, sustainability, and social responsibility. Northern Mindanao Tourism Chief Marie-Elaine Unchuan welcomed Frasco's assurance, noting that there will be more income opportunities in the region if chances lost in tourism are regained. The 58th Infantry Battalion has opened a new command post in Misamis Oriental as it expands its campaign to stop insurgency and maintain peace and order. More on this from Vince Bautista.
As the 58th Infantry Battalion further completes its mandate in ending the local communist armed conflict in the province of Misamis Oriental, the battalion recently unveiled its newest battalion command post in Barangay Bulahan, Claveria. The 28,503 square meters of land was donated by the local government of Barangay Bulahan and was earmarked by the local government unit of Claveria for the use of the said battalion or any other Philippine Army unit as a symbol of gratitude to the unwavering service that men and women of the 58th Manlulupig Battalion had shown in the municipality.
Let this be a source of inspiration to further work harder para magampanan na natin ang ating mission.
Kanatoy mentioned that their mission in ending the local communist armed conflict in their area of responsibility is almost coming to an end, since out of the 3 guerrilla groups, only one is remaining, the platoon Falcon. He also thanked the indigenous people in the area for welcoming his troops. The 58 IB commander reminds his troops that they must take care of their new camp and thank them for their support in him and their efforts in making their area of responsibility in Misamis Oriental peaceful. For PNA Newsroom, Vince Bautista, Philippine Information Agency, Misamis Oriental.
A Filipino treat has made it into a list of the best of its kind in the world. Food and lifestyle website Taste Atlas named the bibingka or rice cake among the world's top 50 best-rated cakes. As of today, the bibingka is in the 19th spot with a rating of 4.4. Taste Atlas described the bibingka as a delicacy associated with Christmas time when it is traditionally enjoyed after Mass. The rice cake is made of rice flour and water prepared in clay pots lined with banana leaves and best enjoyed with cheese, grated coconut, and slices of salted duck egg. The torta garage of Rus, Bulgaria, a decadent walnut sponge cake layered with dark chocolate, topped the Taste Atlas list. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. Some breathing space for motorists. Oil firms will slash pump prices effective tomorrow. An expert cites the need to ramp up COVID-19 booster vaccination amid the emergence of new variants, but says there is no need to raise alert levels and reduce public transport capacity as severe cases remain at bay. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology lowers Taal volcano's alert to level 1, citing a decrease in its activity. And another sigh of relief, power rates will go down this July as Meralco complies with the Energy Regulatory Commission's order to refund some 21.8 billion pesos to consumers. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear your face masks and face shields Wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on PTV4. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, we tell stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. Good day, everyone.